Live. Coconut, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Venture Maidens. We are back on track. We're here every other week again. It's feeling great. It's feeling good. Wow, this is very exciting. Oh, hey, Drop the Die. Welcome. Wow, are you guys ready to play some motherfucking D&D?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, I am kind of sick, so sorry, everybody, but I'm hype and gonna do my best anyway. So hey, everybody, welcome to Venture Maidens. I'm your Dungeon Master, Celeste Connorwich.
I'm your Moon Elf Warlock, Arnadella Thel, played by Brittany Quintero.
Yes, we got there.
I had to think about it.
I am Katie. I play your tiefling sorcerer, Farah Valen.
I'm Nassim. I play your human monk Sayonara, and excuse me real fast, my roommates just decided to play music.
What a jerk. Hi.
Hi, I'm Sage, and I will be your bangin' barbarian, Cara Brunhilde.
Yay. Is that everybody?
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for more. There was a period where I kept cutting people off, and then I was like, oh no, no longer. Oh wow, the chat's doing something super weird, gang. Bear with me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. Actually, you know what? While I'm figuring out why chat is weird, what happened? Tell me what happened last time in Venture Maidens. Shit's happening. It got cray. What was it?
Arnadel's favorite place on the fucking planet got blasphemed.
Yeah.
Truly, yes, we were given a book by Jem that which we should have known, because she's a construct and would have no feelings or fear, but she's like, I don't want to go down there because it creeps me out. And we're like, oh yeah, sure, totally makes sense, believe it. Yeah. So after we had put on our diving bells, we descended into the darkness of the library, where we met Kratos, a mummy who has been there for 5,000 years, taking care of all these rare tomes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then we descended down into a vacuum room, essentially. There was no light or air. We had these fancy helmets on to guide us, and we carried down this book that Jem gave us, or Gemma, and
Jem.
met Kronos. That was his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kratos.
Oh, Kratos, sorry.
Kratos.
I remember my own NPC. Yeah, it sounds good. No, it sounds good.
Yes, the Greek god of time. Yes.
Was kind of spoopy, but loved his job, was doing great work.
Mm-hmm.
And we started making our way through the library. And first we saw a black book in some kind of casing.
Kara drew the symbol that was on the floor of the wizard sanctum to try and figure out maybe if that was the clue to figure out the name of this wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And Kratos went over to a set of codexes and pulled up the name of that wizard who was associated with that symbol, which was Melitios, who is a famed wizard and artificer. And he's like, this was from 2,000 years ago. Are you sure this is your person? We're like, yeah, sounds like them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then as we're starting to wander over to gather more information about this individual, suddenly a flurry of papers began assaulting us as they formed into a paper dragon, which began destroying the place. And we were charged with taking this thing down with as little damage as possible, which was met with mixed success.
That's a good way to describe it.
We did take it down. It was an epic fight. But all of the books that would help us in our quest to figure out who the maker is were destroyed conveniently. So clearly someone is trying to keep this information from us.
Mm-hmm.
Rem.
Mm.
Yeah, so then I think Kratos threw his mummy tears, which I think are just dust.
Mummy dust.
Or ink.
Yeah, I believe he told us that we could go find a woman, Anju Elodie, who was the author of that book,
Mhm.
who was currently serving at this veil, which was something that a magical barrier that the Tsarina had put up to keep out monsters and vagabonds. So he said that would be a great place to start to find out more info.
Monsters and
Yeah.
Vagabonds, a new RPG coming to you in 2020.
Beautiful. A Celeste Conowitch production.
Copywriting that. Nailed it.
Yes, we learned that, or we remembered that the veil, keeps out the monsters and vagabonds, and that you can sign up if you want to go to Mage College. You can sign up for shifts as part of your civic duty that are served in 4-year terms. And so Anju Elodie has apparently served many shifts up at the Vale, protecting the plains. So we gotta go find her, so we can be like, tell me, you wrote this whole codex about every single wizard who's ever existed. What do you know about this one?
Yes. Going to the primary source, just like they taught you in library school.
Yep, precisely.
Mhm.
And yeah, that was pretty much where we left off.
Yeah. Yes. So last time you all had made quick work of this strange paper construct dragon that had clearly been sent to destroy this information. You all unknowingly had smuggled this creature in through a book that had been given to you innocently enough by Jem. And after making quick work of it and talking to Kratos about going to meet this Anju Elodie, who is now basically your only source of like knowledge about who this wizard is that created the avatar. Saye had kind of run upstairs immediately. Sorry, coughing.
Live.
Saye, while you had all been like talking to Kratos and all of the mummies and everyone was just devastated by what had happened here, Saye had run upstairs to try and confront Jem. So that's where we're leaving off now. All of you had just finished speaking to Kratos. He had asked you to go and give hell to whoever has destroyed these books. And yeah, Saye had run upstairs and confronted Jem, who had just been kind of like staring off into space. And then Saye had, called her to attention, and Jem had said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Who are
You, I want to do an investigation or possibly an intimidation. I'm not sure which one to go with.
you?" Okay. Well, why don't you tell me what you're doing? And
I just want to know, first of all, where the fuck she got that book, or if there's any sign of something going on in there.
Sure.
Did someone show up? Was there any kind of struggle?
Okay. Yeah. So, are you starting with asking her where the fuck did you get
I'm gonna
that
do an
book?
intimidation check. I'm gonna be like, "Who gave you that book? Where did you get it?"
Okay.
12.
Okay. Yeah. So you're up in her face, and she is just standing there, calm as can be, kind of blinking slowly at you. And she has this expression. Again, it's very strange because her skin, doesn't quite work the way normal skin does. So she doesn't have like frown lines or anything. But she seems to be thoughtfully like looking at you and kind of taking in her surroundings as if this is all new information to her. And she is like, "I am so sorry you are upset. I do not know what this is in reference to. Could you explain this further?"
I'm sorry. I was here 5 minutes ago. You handed me and my friends a book and led us down into the library. I gave you a note from the Tsarina.
"Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you sure? I have no recollection of doing any of that."
Insight?
Sure.
16.
Okay. So looking at her, I mean, she doesn't seem to be deceiving you in any way. There are like no tells or anything that would indicate that she's lying. You're not sure if it's because she's, not quite human, so maybe you can't tell, but
All right.
why don't you go ahead and did you want to like kind of look at her or look around for clues?
Yeah, I'm going to investigate.
Sure, make an investigation check.
no. 8.
Okay. Yeah, you're looking around. I mean, she's just standing out in the hallway. There's no signs that anyone came by recently or anything. It's a very just quiet kind of administrative building hallway. I mean, she was standing there when you came back out, so
She was standing there,
yeah, just
seeing the hall.
standing outside the door. I mean, she did say that she would be there waiting for you when you came back out. That seems true, but she just seems to have no other memory of the preceding events right before she came to be standing at this point.
None of my checks help me with this, man. They're all like +1.
Yeah. So while this is happening inside, you're like trying to grill this woman upstairs. What are the rest of you doing downstairs? You had just basically finished talking to Kratos, and he is closing down the contact book, where he got that information for you about Elodie, and lovingly putting it back on the shelves. And you just hear like a sad moaning sound coming from the other scribes who are still back by the cabinets trying to clean up the devastation.
I think we're probably like
Oh,
mopily.
Sage, are you muted? Yeah. Sorry, Britt, what was that?
Oh, I would imagine we're kind of like mopily making our way back up the stairs, like slightly baffled about like what the fuck just happened. Arnadel's heart is like hurting over what just happened. Those are her favorite things on the planet. It's like one step below Alistar Fitzpatrick. Oh, fuck. Sorry.
Yeah.
Farrah's doing like that kind of like half-hearted, like I'm not gonna stay to help totally clean this place up, but as you walk past and you're like, well, I mean, if I'm walking past, I'll put this book back there and like this paper.
Yeah. It's like when you're at a party and somebody throws up on someone's shoes and you're like, oh man, wow, this sucks, I really have to go.
It's a napkin though.
Yeah, here's my napkin.
You throw away the empties, but you don't wipe up the spills.
Yeah. So real though. Yeah. So you all are making your way up the stairs, and you come back into that chamber, where you put on those helmets and everything. So kind of the sealed room. So you get out there and you see through like the little window on the door that Saya is like yelling at Jem on the other side.
Oh shit. I mean, I think I'm just gonna run up there and kind of like stand by her side and kind of catch up on what she's yelling about, because I mean, obviously this construct lady fucked us over. So
yeah, you can definitely, you can get your helmets off in no time, put them back on the pegs and like open up those other doors, and join Saya in the hall. And Saya, what are you doing right now when everybody else kind of comes in?
I think I'm just frantically wandering around the room and like trying to figure out what to say next. Like I don't know. She's frozen in between making different decisions and can't come to a decision what to do next. She doesn't seem to remember me or helping us, and I don't see a sign that anyone was here or that book.
Clearly someone is behind this. I mean, if she's, and Kara motions towards Jem, like,
oh, hi, I'm Jem. It's a pleasure to meet all of you.
Does anyone know how to make her like remember shit?
Maybe.
Oh, can I do like, maybe this is a bit of a stretch, but like with detect magic, I'm guessing, you tell me if this is crazy, there's like magical registers, like a scent. I feel like maybe if you're familiar with somebody, I would like to see if maybe Rem's stench is
Rem's magic stench.
If there's a magical fucking stench.
I smell a demigod.
Sure. Yeah, so you turn on detect magic. And as you are here, like in this wizard's tower, clearly there's a lot of magic going on. But you look at Jem, and she registers as a magical being. She is an artifact. But as you look at her, there's something a little bit different about her. You see that on her left hand, it's glowing blue. So something on there is emanating enchantment magic.
Just her hand.
Just her hand.
Left or right?
Left.
I don't think it matters.
I mean,
Sorry.
she's standing right there with like her hands at her sides, kind of looking around at everybody.
I want to like
Sage
look
has
at her.
a thought about this, but Kara has no idea.
Arnadel voices. First she's gonna be like, "May I see your left hand, please?"
Okay. And Jem kind of like holds out her hand, like for like a handshake gesture. She's like shrugging.
Arnadel grabs it and then turns it around and studies her palm. Now I don't know what D&D mechanics I could possibly use with this, but as one who is extremely studious and well read, I'm hoping that Arnadel might have some way of like putting that together, like, you touched something or somebody grabbed you or blah 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 blah. And Arnadel voices this thought process to everybody else.
Sure, and it's not so hard because when you flip over her hand, you see that something has been written on her skin in pen.
Oh,
It just appears like, because her skin is the same consistency as paper, you see a symbol has been drawn. Now you can make an Arcana check to see if you recognize the symbol.
yeah.
Guidance.
Oh, thanks. So that was a naked 16 plus my Arcana,
I'm
which
sure that
is
will
gonna
do
be
it.
a +7
Okay.
plus
+4.
guidance.
Yeah, so as you are looking at the symbol on her hand, you recognize it as a spell that you can't cast yet. It's high-level magic, but you recognize it as the Dominate Monster symbol on her hand. So somebody has just penned that onto her skin. And as you kind of flip over her hand, she's like, oh, well, that's troublesome.
Yeah. I turn and explain all of this to the rest of the group. Well,
That would explain why I don't remember anything. It seems somebody has interfered with me.
Is there any way to figure out how? I mean, we're in a mage college. Surely someone knows how to figure this shit out.
well, do you have a memory of like visitors prior to your blackout?
Let's see. And she kind of stands up and like looks at the empty air and like looks like she's, processing something.
Oh, I know. I have the same look.
The last thing I remember, I was at the front desk and I was helping a child. Yes, it was a young girl.
A child.
What
Yes.
was she asking for?
Do you
help
remember what
with?
she looks like?
She was... I don't.
Arnadel, you don't think that could be Mila, do you?
Well, I don't know why Mila would be hard to remember. Hold on. I want to know, what was the child asking for help with?
I don't recall. But I can check my logbooks to see if she signed in.
I like that.
Okay. Mila, I wonder what Mila would be doing.
Or someone using a disguise?
Well, we know Rem is phenomenally talented at disguises.
Yeah, and Jem begins to lead herself, or lead all of you back the way you came initially. So down these hallways and by the room that contained the spell well and back into like the kind of lobby entrance where you first entered. And she walks over to her desk and begins to flip through the sign-in book there. I am sorry, I don't have anyone listed as signing in before noon yesterday. If this is
Weird.
the Dominate Monster spell, I can't have been under this effect for more than 8 hours.
Right. Like I know.
Uh-huh.
right.
Obviously.
Of course. I just had a really shaky, unsettling thought. If Mila is working with Rem, lots clunking into place there. I don't like that thought or idea at all.
I mean, Rem would
There's
be
no reason she wouldn't be working with Rem.
Rem would be a good person to have protecting you.
Right. And the last time we saw Mila was when Rem was in completely good standing. And Aaron has express some level of like concern and loyalty for Bram. I'm really uncomfortable. Well, child, wouldn't be surprised if Rem could turn into a child for secrecy's sake, but also I hope that would be really conflicting if it was Mia.
Well, I mean, maybe we should talk to Isolde, because maybe she can do some kind of divination magic or something to figure out, I don't know, who casts a spell or, whatever. But I mean, either way, we should probably get back.
I want to, like, turn to Jem. I'm like, is there a way I can get like some kind of, I don't know, copy of your hand?
Well, I suppose you could take this. And Jem like reaches down and like pulls at what would be like a piece of skin on another person, and like with a shh sound, like hands you the piece of paper that was their skin.
Cool.
I am so
Perfect.
sorry.
That's exactly what I want.
I am so sorry this situation has caused you distress. I will turn myself in. Clearly, I have been tampered with.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Well, yes. Ardenel's very conflicted. She's like, we're sorry that this happened to you. And also, when you turn yourself in, can you also express our deepest, what's the word when you're terribly sad? Our deepest sympathy for what happened to the library.
I will do my best to communicate those emotions.
You can just say it verbatim.
I shall do this. Anything else I can help you with before you go?
Good luck,
nope, thanks for your skin.
Thanks for your skin.
I mean, creepy and useful.
Yeah, well, because if it's written, maybe there's like not only is there a magical signature, but literal a hand signature, like you can recognize people's penmanship, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do we recognize it?
I would say probably not, just off the top of your head. Well, what are you gonna do now? You have dinner plans in about an hour.
Probably. I mean, I'm sure we look like fucking shit because we had an acid bath.
Oh yeah, parts of your armor and shit are burnt off. You have skin. Some of you are pretty messed up. I think Kara, you're down. Yeah,
I'm
almost
like a third
80
of my
hit points. So
I feel great. I feel exfoliated.
I love this. I feel awesome.
Oh, we did send out those servants to get us fine clothes for dinner, so we should go back and bathe and change and prepare to look like presentable beings.
Yeah, we got those bathtubs. We should use them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we shouldn't heal ourselves too hardcore, because if they're going to be like, so what happened? Be like, all of this.
My body was
Proof?
hurt. No.
Proof.
Yeah, and Kara's gonna want to confer with Isolde and be like, we had a crazy afternoon. What have you been up to?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so you can head back. You get to the palace without any problems. It's still a lovely day in Faithless. You're allowed back into the palace. People nod as you pass by. What clothes did the servants bring you? Each of you has an outfit laid out. It's all like in the fashions of Phelan, which are very, so the Eladrin are very like a couture people. So couture, Fae inspired. So think about that. What's the looks that you've all been brought?
Oh, I have a Pinterest pin I'm about to show you.
Okay. But also describe it with your word voice for the podcast.
I need some help.
I think Farah gets one of those like high collars with the points in the back that come up. Everything is gold, her signature, and beyond that, it's her, normal jacket, but the back of it, the tails extend to almost be like a dress, and it kind of like the fabric gets cut away into different stars. And then she has just a nice black cat suit and some high fancy boots.
Hell yeah. Love that.
I don't know if it's probably not gonna do it. Can you see that?
I think I can figure it out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like
That's
a
nice.
what would that be? Like an off the shoulder kirtle.
Kirtle.
It's called a kirtle. Google it.
Okay.
A very tightly fitted kirtle that is off of the shoulder and only goes to just above the knee with a flowing diaphanous skirt beneath it.
Very cool.
Very couture.
Love it. Okay. And yeah, Saye, what's up?
I'm seeing something like militaristic and has like very structured shoulders that kind of come out, and there's giant buckles or like buttons, gold buttons going down the front, and that's a crop, as well as like very structured fitted like poofy pant, like balloon side pant trousers.
Nice.
I don't know what the right word is for that.
Balloon pants works.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like a neoprene kind of thick and structured fabric, but still moves and stuff. And then there's like little draped kind of curtain things falling off of the shoulder, and then the opposite hip.
Ooh,
A
hell yeah.
blend of things.
Hell yeah. Texture.
Kara wears she has like one of those kind of high collar like Chinese shirts with like the 3 little knots, little fasteners on, that's like this rich gold and green brocade, accompanied with black trousers and boots.
Very cool. Yeah, so all of these outfits are laid out for you when you return to your rooms. Baths are drawn, everything is ready to go, as if the servants have anticipated that you might need some zhuzhing before you head out to dinner
To say the least.
with the ruler of the land. Yeah, and then when you do get back, you see Isolde is actually already nervously like pacing the hallway. She's got like this skin tight, black kind of silk dress thing on that has a bunch of different fringes and these kind of like iridescent fabrics that like trail along on the floor behind her.
Kara's mouth visibly drops.
Yeah, and she like turns around and clearly like, it's one of those dresses that force you into that like hourglass. And Isolde's already a tiny woman, so she's just like rail thin as she turns towards you. She's like, "Oh, good, you're back." I was starting
Are you
to
gonna
get
be able to eat?
Absolutely not. That's fine. I was starting to get a little worried. But you're back. And she's also speaking with that very breathy, like, I just got into this corset. Oh my god.
You
offers her an arm.
I think she does, like, sort of rest on you. How did it go? What does that mean?
Very poorly. Someone attacked us.
In the streets, or
in the library?
And she's like, kind of assures you all to go into like the closest room. We'll say it's like Farah's room. She just has everybody go inside. Okay, maybe start over.
What Arnold just pulls out the leaf of parchment that we obtained from Jem and hands it over and like, do you recognize this handwriting or script? By chance?
And that's a dominate monster spell? I don't...
So look, we went into the library. There's this construct named Jem who gave us a book to give back to the librarian. The librarian was like, I don't recognize that book. So we figured out the name of the wizard whose sanctum it was, who allegedly made the avatar. But then suddenly this paper dragon manifested, attacked all of us, destroyed half the library and all of the materials that would be on said wizard / artificer. Very frustrating. So now we have a name of some wizard lady in the Vale who we have to go find to try and figure out more about this maker.
Do you think it was Rem who orchestrated this?
Absolutely. Who else?
And Rem turned into a little girl.
Yeah, the lady. Oh, sorry. Yeah, she said her last memory was of a little girl who is asking for help. But she doesn't remember what the little girl looked like or what she asked for help with.
I doubt that was Rem herself. Rem does change forms, but it's not quite as easy as that, and I do not think she would take over a child in that way.
What?
Or perhaps she would. I'm clearly not the best judge of her character. But this is concerning now that we know that Rem is actively watching what we're doing. So she has eyes on us, which is new information.
Oh, so yeah, we got this from the, what did you call her, Arnadel? A living spell book?
Yeah, she's a construct gem.
Yeah, we were hoping maybe we could figure
I
out.
already handed it.
Yeah. Yeah, who casts a spell on her, or if there's some kind of divination magic that can happen to, like, I
Maybe
don't
like
know.
reverse engineer this.
Yeah, maybe peer into her memories or see.
I will do what my magic will allow, though I won't be able to get to this until after this dinner engagement. She kind of like rolls her eyes and looks at the piece of paper. I'll do what I can and see if I can find anything out. I'm glad you all are safe, at least.
How was your afternoon?
Well,
And Arnadel, I realized I said that and it sounded very aggressive. Arnadel means it very like sweetly, like
yeah.
like hand pat. Like, how was your afternoon?
Well, it's taken me about 30 minutes to get into this. And she like waves a hand down at the dress. But it was good to catch up with my cousin. Well, understandably, she's not in the best of states with all of this. So I feel like she needed a friend. I'm sorry I was not with you. Perhaps I could have prevented this.
C'est la vie.
Glad that you got some family time. I mean, was it nice for you to catch up with your cousin?
Well,
A
I
weary
suppose.
one with many burdens.
Sure. I'll be happier when we're safely out of here. I'm fast remembering all of the things I didn't like about living here, primarily the politics.
Well, it may not seem like it, perhaps, but that feeling is a luxury.
I suppose it is. Well, I have some final preparations to make, and she's kind of looking at the sheet of paper. I will meet you in the hall soon, and we'll head over to this debacle, whatever this is going to be. I suppose in the meantime, though, if we are going to be heading to the Vale, we should reach out to Ravane.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I will I'll let my cousin know and see what she can do. Perhaps she can give us some resources. To get to the Vale, we're going to have to cross the Kronos Desert, and that is not a pleasant journey.
Ugh, I hate the desert.
Yes. Well then. And she kind of, she starts looking around for like lipstick and a couple other things, like in her final moments. Any other last preparations you all would like to make before heading to dinner with the Tsar and Tsarina?
We would all probably take a drink. Like,
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Shot.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Kara passes around her ever full flask.
Oh
Everyone's
yeah,
like,
you have that.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. So you get loose and dolled up and ready to go. You meet a
Not
sold out.
too loose.
Just enough loose to be socially
Little
cool.
buzz.
Lubricated.
Yeah. And you begin to head down the hallways of the palace. You hear dinner before you arrive at dinner. There is a full like string quartet that is playing in one of these great halls. It's not the throne room, obviously, that you were received in. You're led towards a very grand banquet hall that's like got gilded ceilings and like this large like painting of like fairies that stretches across the entire ceiling here, and there are a bunch of tables that are sat down in this room, but the main one that you are going to be seated at is by far the largest. At one end you see Sar Reardon is standing by his chair, and then at the very, very other end of the table, so about 20 feet away, the Tsarina is sitting in her chair. And as you stand, you enter the room, everybody else in the room stands. And again, there's a huge, like, retinue of other people here. These all seem to be more courtiers, as opposed to, like, all the guards that were here when you got booped into the throne room. And the band is playing, and, like, there are people walking around with drinks on trays, and, everybody is engaged in light, friendly conversation. Yeah, so it seems a little bit more casual than what you walked into before. But, yeah.
Kara immediately yoinks a drink off a tray and drinks it quickly and looks around nervously like, oh, please, oh my God, please no one talk to me.
yeah, just looking down. Yeah, and Isolde does very much the same thing. She, like, reaches out and kind of, like, makes a sharp inhale and then, like, starts to walk down, like, the steps, with her, like, 5-inch heels.
Kara sticks like pretty much by his old side and like helps her down the steps and everything, and like it's just kind of like
Yeah, she looks at you gratefully as she leans on you for support. And as you walk in, eventually the Tsarina takes notice of all of you and kind of like spins around in her chair and, our retinue from the Sisters of Sorrow. Welcome. It is so good of you to join us for an afternoon meal.
The honor is ours, Tsarina. And she gives a nice little bow to her.
The Tsarina, graciously, like, nods.
Your hospitality knows no bounds, and Kara bows.
And you hear from the other side of the table, you finally arrived. Well, come. Sit down and delight us with some of the tales of the Sisters of Sorrow. Doesn't that sound wonderful, everyone? Reardon, like, turns to the room, and everybody goes quiet as he talks.
I hate this guy so much.
Oh my God,
me too. Saya, she, like, relishes in this opportunity to just, like, bask in the glory of their adventures, and she was like, oh yeah, sure, there's this one time we were on the road, we were on the desert for like a long time, and this bird came out of nowhere and it was huge, and I think it was called the Rock. Anyway, I pulled this sick move where I like did some, I don't know what any of the gymnastic terms are, but some like sick nasty flips.
Sick nasty flips.
That bird.
Yeah. And as you are, go ahead and make me a performance check, actually, as you're telling the room.
Off a dozen sand raiders.
That's right. Oh my God. I'm so uncharismatic. I rolled an 8.
An 8. So you're like telling the room, and you go on for like a little bit too long, when somebody's telling you the story and like you just lose interest halfway through. So the nobles are sort of looking at you, and they're all like very polite, faces plastered on as they're like nodding.
Oh, God.
And you kind of get towards like the end-ish, and Reardon's like, well, that's good enough. Please, everyone, have a seat. Have a seat. Let's get this started.
Oh.
Should I tell him about the time I came back from the dead?
And Isolde like touches your shoulders, like, maybe after that last one we can give the stories a break.
Oh, okay, good point.
And nods
I like
politely and sorry.
Farah, who was not there for this, had been listening to the story, and now that she's like part of this, she was like, a sick, nasty, yeah, and she's like very excited, and everyone else, as they're walking away, she's like, I thought it was interesting.
I liked it.
I thought it was good.
Yeah. So everybody, the music changes from like a lively cocktail tune to sort of a more gentle string piece, as everybody is like settling in towards their chairs. And now like servants start coming out. They're filling up water goblets, making sure everybody has enough wine that's been opened and poured around the table. And then the first course begins to come out. So you're getting like hors d'oeuvres and all these things that are on these little tiny plates that are just tiny food in tiny little stacks. That's how you know it's fancy. It's gone in one bite unless you really try hard. You're just moving through these courses. So you're around 3 or 4 courses in. Again, and all the courtiers are sort of ignoring you all, unless you try to engage any of them in conversation.
Yeah, Farah is gonna look to the person like next to her and do that thing where you kind of ease yourself into someone else's combo, and like wait for a natural lull and just start her own small talk with them of just like, so this is my first time to court. What do you guys do for fun here? Is it as highbrow as it seems? This whole place is beautiful, or is it you guys have like a secret hangout spot that you don't like to share?
Yeah, so the person sitting immediately to your left is a very androgynous looking person who has this just fabulous beard that's like got glitter just all down it. So this huge, beautiful, like neon, vibrant glitter beard sitting next to you. A Ladrin courtier in like this offset sort of lime green like silk outfit that just perfectly works somehow, and they're like, oh my dear, it's so wonderful to meet someone from outside of Phelan. This is just an absolute pleasure. Oh my god. And like their cheeks are very rosy already by this point as they're talking to you, so they'll happily talk to you. They introduce themselves as Madam. Somebody pick a great name.
I was going to say Tassad, but that's not.
Madame Tassad. I love wax.
The wax himself.
You know what? Sure, it's Madame Tassad. I run a wax museum here in the city of Phelan.
Don't worry, it's not copyright. The real one's called Tussauds.
There you go.
Yes, I'm Tassad.
Too sorry.
It's incredibly different.
Yeah, no, Farah's just totally into it, and she keeps pouring them like wine glass after wine glass.
Dear. So y'all are having a great time. Is anyone else trying to talk to anybody?
I think I'm like politely listening and kind of nodding and just whatever's going on around me. Like it's like eavesdropping, but you're like, And if anybody like has a question for me, I'll like respond nicely, just but keep it very like very, very passive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Watching.
Yeah, and at some point through the meal, you think it's course 5 or 6. You still haven't gotten to what you would interpret as like a main course. You see that a servant comes in from outside of the room and leans down and whispers something to the Tsarina. And she seems to have quite a long exchange with them. Why don't you all go ahead and make insight checks as you notice this happening?
That's a natural 1 for me.
Got a 6.
23.
What was that, Nassim?
16.
Okay, so I think both Saye and Kara would pick up on this then. As the Tsarina is having this conversation, she does seem uncharacteristically emotional about whatever is happening in that conversation. You haven't seen much emotion come from her at all. But the thing that's way more interesting is that Sar Reardon, even from 20 feet away, is like looking on at this conversation and just like fucking like staring it down, and has a very weird look on his face.
Kara would immediately nudge Isolde and be like, "What? Do you see this? What's going on?"
I'm not sure.
She doesn't have kids, right?
Oh no, she doesn't. That's a big source of that's a big problem for
Yeah.
historically.
Okay. Well, since it's getting this is a conversation still happening. They're still exchanging.
I think the messenger probably about now, after like a minute or two, will sort of stand up and like do a little bow, and the Tsarina watches them leave the room.
Kara, nudges Isolde. Maybe you should go offer some like cousinly comfort.
Yes. Let me see what I can do. And like as Isolde like stands from the table, the Tsarina actually stands at the same time, and like the music stops in the room, and like everybody like rushes to stand up because the Tsarina's standing up. So it's just this like huge activity of movement as everybody's like standing up, and she bows to the room and is, I apologize for my rude behavior, but I must leave you in the care of my wonderful husband for now. Please enjoy the rest of this meal. And she begins to walk out of the room. And a bunch of courtiers like start immediately like whispering, like as gossip is going around the table, like this just isn't done. And the Tsar looks mad.
Ooh.
Can we like listen to some of the gossip that's turning around just to like see if anything's
Sure, go ahead and make me some
juicy stuff.
Perception checks. See if you pick up anything juicy.
Jesus, I'm sucking tonight. Look.
I'm there with you.
I got an 11.
15.
17.
I want to follow the servant guy and the Tsarina out.
Ooh, sneak.
I want to try to stealth away.
You know I have an invisibility spell, right? We
just
used
turn
it
invisible
together.
in the middle of a room.
Surely no one will
Party
notice.
trick.
Is it a touch spell or is it like ranged?
It is touch, I believe. But
I mean, I'll just be like, "Yo, I'm exhausted. It's been a long meal. I'm pretty full. I gotta go," and I just duck away.
okay.
During the appetizer.
Then Saye, go ahead and make me a stealth roll.
It's a 5. We've had 5 courses already. I think I could say off this tiny food.
Five courses of tiny food. Somehow you're hungry and you've had 5 courses of food, so you know it's fancy.
Sarah, no.
Decent.
Okay. Don't you?
18.
18. Okay, yeah, you in the hustle and the hullabaloo, you just managed to dip away to follow the Tsarina off. And as you're picking up little threads of the conversation, none of you get something too juicy, but it's just like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with the Tsarina? Perhaps she's sick, or there's a visitor, or an emissary or something. Perhaps it's one of her young men. Who knows? The
bulk of it, Arnadelle tunes it out. She's like, oh, fucking trash.
Yep. Yeah. And so Saye, you are gonna follow the Tsarina down the hall?
Yep.
Okay.
I doubt I'll get away with it for very long, but we're gonna try.
Sure. Go ahead and make me another stealth roll to see if she notices you following.
Natural 20.
Herself?
She is. She's like rushing out, and you see that a bunch of like guards and stuff are like turning around, like, should we follow her? Like they're looking at each other, like. At this point,
Like, going to the bathroom. Be right back.
You got a natural 20?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. This is where you're getting. So you just perfectly, like, in the chaos, you know, keep to the hallways. You're only turning right as she turns around corners, and you follow her back towards that great hall where you came in initially, where all of you appeared. And she walks into this room that's now, for such a big room, like with no people now in it, it's sort of odd. You just hear the steps of her heels like echoing through the hallways as you're creeping along in the dark. And she turns off into one of these smaller rooms that is attached onto this main way here, passes through an archway. And from behind, you see, as she steps into the room, she kind of like freezes. And you see that immediately across from where she is, you see another teleportation circle in the ground, a lot like the one that you came from here, but maybe this is something to receive a different location or whatever. And standing in this circle is an Eladrin man. It's Duke Ravain, who is standing there in the middle of the circle. And she, again, is just like frozen in place kind of by the door. And you see them just kind of look at each other for a long moment.
They're looking at each other.
They're looking at each other. You looking at them looking at
looking
each
at
other.
that boy, and you looking at that girl.
So yeah, and they're
that's the only reason that she's emotional, because it was a boy.
it was a babe. Are you just gonna keep watching them?
No, I'm gonna stay until they start talking. And should I make a listen, or is that a thing? No, it's not.
Perception.
Perception.
Yeah, they're talking in low voices. Why don't you go ahead and make a perception?
Oh God.
Will
Eight.
An 8. Okay, so I'll say that you can catch the Tsarina's half of the conversation since she's kind of like on the outside. And she says, "What are you doing here?" And then he must say something. And she's like, you could have just sent a message. This isn't going to work. And then he says something for a long time, and she kind of sighs.
Does he look sad?
Make a insight check.
18.
He looks like he's concealing whatever he's feeling.
Wait a second. They're having a "what are we" conversation in the middle of dinner?
Or they're breaking
and she
up.
got the fuck up from the table for this?
You don't know. You can't hear what he's saying. And she sort of nods and is like, "Well, everyone knows you're here now, so I suppose I'll call everyone in. You can deliver this yourself. This was ridiculous." And she like turns on a heel and like strides out of the room.
Sorry, hiding.
Yeah, backing up. Just heading up to the room now.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth to see if you can get away from these two.
Oh goodness. Oh, it landed very oddly. I'm gonna go with the better number. It landed like on the line. 25.
Okay. All right, well, she doesn't seem to notice you then, as she turns down the hall and starts to head back towards the main banquet room. And at this point, back in the banquet room, the music picks back up, now kind of like to cover the awkward moment. Everybody's like playing with their strings. They're like, as the star is like staring at the open door here. And then Saya, so you head back to the room. Just want to take a moment in the room, or what you getting up to?
I'm gonna take this opportunity of being alone to try and have a bath and a meditation and try and get in contact with my water spirit, cool. My water deity, whatever it is technically. Yeah, because I just haven't done that in a while, and she needs some guidance.
Check in.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you're heading off to do that. And then everybody back in the main banquet hall. This very tense situation is going on here. And this goes on for like 10 minutes ish or so. And then you start to see other like servant messengers start to come in and talk to the Tsar. And somebody comes over and talks to Isolde, and this whole party basically gets broken up here. And Isolde like leans over and listens, and apparently Ravain is here.
Wait,
now.
That's not good.
I mentioned that we needed him to escort us over to the Vale, but I had no idea he would come now or here. He's not exactly welcome here.
Yeah, big shocker.
Okay.
I guess we should probably head over there then.
Yeah, and she's looking at the Tsar again, and like clearly everyone in the room is looking at the Tsar to like take cues as to what is happening here. And he stands up and says, Now, everyone, I know there's been some fuss this evening, but I assure you everything is under control. So everyone, please just remain, and we shall have a lovely meal.
I really think we should go.
And he's like looking around the room here and kind of nods at the guards, and they all like sort of move in like towards the doors.
Oh, awkward.
And everybody is like, so you are trapped for the time being to have a lovely meal in this room.
That
sucks.
I'm assuming that my Alistair Fitzpatrick has like kind of been going in between like my shoulders and kind of on my lap and like all over. So I'm going to just kind of covertly like scoop him into my lap and hold him like a little baby. And I'm going to do a touch spell of invisibility on Alistair Fitzpatrick. And I'm going to send him to find Sawya.
Okay, sure. So you send Alistair off. He, as the rest of you, you're like served the next course now, which is, something on a sheet of kale.
God, course 8, and I'm starving still.
I gave him the like feely things of like, when you find her, let me know, and then I'll communicate henceforth.
Sure. All right, and then let's jump back to Saye. Everyone, headphones off, Nassim?
Yeah.
Okay. Would everyone mind taking their headphones off? And I will give you a thumbs up when we're ready to get back on board. What's Saye up to?
Yeah, Saya wants to run a bath, a nice hot steamy bath, shut off windows and stuff, and kind of like create a heat sauna effect, like a sweat lodge effect, I guess, in the bathroom of the rooms that they're staying in. And then,
I mean, you can definitely do that. These places have great like shutters and everything. You can set up the running water is just totally optimal to creating whatever environment you're looking for.
Yeah, totally. And she'll also light a bunch of candles to both increase the heat and set like a nice little ambiance. And then I'll get into the tub and just start trying to like open up my chakras, my mind.
Yeah.
All those things.
Yeah, you definitely, you float into the water, and you get to that point like when the shower, it's also like very intense heat that your mind starts to drift and flow with the waves of heat and the mist in your mind. And you feel something very primal kind of moving in your chest as you realize like you're water and surrounded by water, and just all of that is like coming into sync in a moment, and you feel a presence there. You think you have...
Is that you, Aquafina? That's what she's gonna call her. Like, I don't know. It's okay if that's not your name. It's just how I imagined you.
Yeah, and you get a feeling of like cool water.
Yeah, I'll sink into it, and thank you for staying with me and connecting me to this incredible power and helping me in tough situations and connecting me more to my past as well, and everything you've done. But I have one favor to ask of you.
You get that feeling again, like the passage of water that you've come to know as like a scent.
I don't know how, but I'm looking for someone. I don't know how to get to them, how to reach them. I don't even know if they can be reached in whatever state they're in right now, but I need this person, Rem. In a sense, I think of her as a sister. And I mean, we are sisters, and I want her to remember that for her sister's sake. I just want to understand, and I want to listen. I want to know why she did what she did, why she took the avatar, what are her intentions. And I just want to bring things to a resolve and understand what she's going through.
And you feel that flowing water once again, and all around you the steam starts to kind of swirl in this room, and you see that a vaguely face-like shape starts to take form, kind of floating in the air above you, that's like struggling to maintain a shape, but it opens its mouth, and like in a sound like flowing bubbles, it says, "We can search the lakes, the oceans, even the puddles of this place to find the one you seek and deliver your message."
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll be listening.
We will have to leave you for a time. Will you promise to be safe?
Yes. I've learned a lot along the way.
And you get that feeling one more time, and then it's like something is flowing out of you almost. It's like this very odd feeling. You know, you've carried this being with you for quite a while now, and like now that it's gone, it feels like something's not there. It's like it's like someone's gone from your life, but you can't quite remember who they were. It's a very strange feeling as they leave, and that face and the steam is gone.
Oh God, she definitely feels it right
Yeah.
away. There's like an emptiness all of a sudden, and then kind of realizes what's happened. And I mean, now she just needs some time alone. She's sad, but very grateful too that they showed up and they were so kind.
Yeah. All right. Well, you sent it on a mission. Can we have people come back?
Yeah.
Come back.
Secrets.
Yeah. Okay. And then Saye, I think you begin to hear a little scratching sound at the door, and like a little pecking.
I think I'd kind of recognize it as Fitzy. I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, those are his little feet.
Yeah,
Whereas-
you hear like a sneeze like from under the door.
Yeah. I'll get out really quickly and push the door open.
Yeah. Yeah, and you do. And Alistair Fitzpatrick, you know, he was leaning fully on the door, so he like flops onto his little like scaly tummy as you open it, and like looks up at you. And Arnadel, you get a feeling of like a scent. Like Saye has been found.
You're muted.
You're muted.
I'm gonna do that voice of the Chainmaster shit and just be like, girl, we're like held hostage in the dining room. We can't get out of here.
Damn, girl, that sucks.
Well, apparently there's some shit going down, but we can't go investigate because what's his ass is like not letting anybody up from the table. So just letting you know where we're at, and we can't really move at the moment.
Get through those meals as fast as possible. If is it dangerous? Should I come down there?
It's I'm just saying that it's like the social etiquette of like, if the fucking king says nobody can leave the table until dinner's done, nobody's fucking leaving the table until dinner's done. Not
Gotcha.
dangerous, but we can't really get up until the king says
Right.
dinner's done.
Well, I did happen to catch the Tsarina on her way out of the dining hall. I don't know if y'all know, but Ravain was here.
Yeah, we kind of got some commotion. Don't know all the details, but King Ass's dick scab shit face is throwing a temper tantrum and be like, nobody can get up.
I need a drink.
So
Kara is visibly eyeing all of the guards and thinking about how many she could take down. You see like the calculations going in her mind, like, oh yeah, I would punch him, duck, and then like, she's like, you can see her like trying to play out the scene in her head.
I can't see shit when I'm doing voice of the Chainmaster shit. I'm like, I feel like I can think of a cartoon reference, but not off the top of my head at the moment. But
yeah,
Arnadill's not fully.
Yeah, for sure. But like for everyone else at the table, they're
Wow.
Yeah.
But this like low key conversation with Saya, Arnold's just like, so I don't know if you wanted to try to like help create a diversion or like stay put. I don't really know what's going on outside of this. I just feel like I needed to let you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try my best to create a diversion if you guys like need to get out there right now. I don't know what's going on with Ravain, but
hold on. How about this? I'm gonna like check in with Isolde, and if Isolde feels like we need to get the fuck out of here, I'll let you know. So hold on to Alistar Fitzpatrick. This is gonna be our way of talking and for the moment. Is that cool?
Yeah,
Are you
Roger.
good?
Roger, over and out. She's using like a walkie-talkie now.
Okay. Cool.
You just grab his ears.
You squish his tummy and he turns on.
Probably take a bath with you. Hopefully
Yeah.
be like stoked. So I come back. I'm back. My eyes are back to normal. I'm like, I look over at Isolde and I'm like,
Isolde is looking at you like,
what happened? Sorry, spaced out.
uh-huh.
Thinking about formulas and
Okay.
molecular structures. Hey, so where am I sitting in relation to Isolde?
Probably close to her. You can lean over and easily talk to her.
Like a low key conversation, just be like, so just like talk to Saya. Like, are we trying to like get the fuck out of here? What's going on?
I don't think we can. Let's
Well,
just see it through dinner. I'm sure
I can take him.
I would
Then
really
it'll be like treason.
encourage you not to do that. Let's just enjoy some canapes and this delightful situation.
Okay.
They served us kale. It's hardly delightful at this point, Isolde.
Yeah, so you all are going to be basically kept at dinner for about another 40 minutes. Is there anything else you want to accomplish specifically, Saya, in that time?
Not so much. I think I'm trying to relax after that fucking battle, and everything else. But if they don't seem to get back to me, she's just gonna keep taking that fucking bath.
Hell yeah,
And
it's me
You
time.
go.
yeah, Fitzy is welcome to swim around in my bubbles if he wants.
Yeah. Yeah, so eventually you take your bath, dinner wraps up, everybody goes their separate ways. All the courtiers are just super stoked as well to be out of there, as Reardon, finally stands up and retires for the evening. And Isolde makes her way off. She's like, I'm going to check in with my cousin and see what's going on. Hopefully I'll have some more information. I'm sorry, but I would just advise waiting at this point.
Definitely want to get back to the room.
Yeah, we just need Ravain alive and to be able to get you all to the Vale. So I'm going to do my best to ensure that happens.
All right. Okay. I'll be good.
Thank you.
And she keeps trying to stuff food in her face.
Do you think we can get like room service pasta? Because we had 16 courses and
Oh,
I'm still famished.
Oh my
Absolutely.
god, I'm dying for a cheeseburger.
Just grab the
Holy
servants in the
shit.
hall. They'll be all over the place.
Okay, we'll be ready and full, and we'll save you a plate for when you're out of the corset.
Oh, wonderful, thank you. And she heads off, sort of in the general like throng direction, and loses herself quickly in the palace to figure out what the hell is going on. So you all get back to your rooms and you get some snacks.
Yes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
jammies.
Yep.
Put those robes on that we all have.
Yep, snacks,
Real.
jammies,
Bunny slippers.
comfy ass robes. Yeah, and you all get comfy, and like an hour passes. You still haven't heard anything. Isolde hasn't come back. You get to like 2 hours. Still haven't heard anything. Isolde isn't back. We're coming up.
I mean,
on...
at this point, they're just getting drunk together, right?
Yeah. We're coming up on about 3 hours where it's getting late into the evening now. So dinner finally wrapped up. It was like a 2-hour affair. So, you know, you're getting close to about 10 o'clock now.
Should we go look for her at this point?
I guess. I kind of want to do that thing that Saye does, where you sneak and listen to people.
I feel like we're not going to get very far in this palace full of guards, and she's got to have like a secret service situation, right?
We're honored guests. We'll do what we want.
I mean, we also know where her secret little patch of Feywilds is, so we could try to find them there.
Yeah, but that's magical. I don't think we have like full ability. Like it's Feywild, it probably moves, and she's one with it.
Maybe we start where you saw them convening, Saye, and kind of branch out from there. See if maybe anybody passed them in the hall. I mean,
Let's start
Oh
the
yeah,
search.
we probably would have talked about what you witnessed, right?
Well, yeah, I, yeah.
Oh yeah, we did talk about it. Yeah, that sounds like a good spot to start.
Mm-hmm.
Think you could like shimmy us out of there? Well, wait a second. Does invisibility work on more than? I think it does work on more than one.
If you cast it on
One
higher
additional
spell slot-
creature for each slot above second, and I'm at 5th level.
So 3.
So 3 people.
Perfect.
Okay, there are 4 of you, but so
3 in addition to myself, right?
no,
No.
including yourself.
Oh, who's super sneaky?
Spirit fingers around Saye.
Yeah, so you all
I
want to
mean-
go out invisible / in jammies to search the palace for what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Spooky, sweet, very Babysitters Club. I'm loving this.
Saya's like, I don't like it.
This is
They're
straight
all
up Harry
invisible.
Potter shit.
Kara will cast guidance on Saye to help her with her sneaking.
Oh, sweet. What does that give me? I never remember.
A D4.
But you'd have
Oh,
to
okay.
do that once every minute. Is that it? It's a minute, right?
Oh wait, do you
Concentration up
do you
to a
stop
minute.
being invisible when you cast a spell though?
Yes.
Oh yes, that's true. I do it
I
before.
have guidance too. We could take turns.
You will not be able to be invisible and cast spells on other people.
That's okay. You don't need to do anything. I'll just fail if I fail, and then it's just me and you guys are still invisible. So
It's just a monk
Fair.
and
And just
jammies.
play, and honestly,
Yeah.
just play it cool. You know, we came with Isolde. If you get caught, be like, I'm looking for Isolde. You know, we were
Yeah.
gonna have girls' night.
Heard she went to the baths,
Sure.
wherever those are.
All right, so you all start to creep out of your rooms like 10:30 or so. You know, you start creeping around. You're invisible. You know, you go back to the scene of the crime, where Ravain first appeared. There are the occasional servants and guards patrolling around, but it's winding down in the evening, so it's infrequent patrols. Nobody you talk to seems to know exactly what's going on. You look around, you're not getting any kind of trails. It's starting to come up on an hour. which would be towards the end of the invisibility. Did you want to keep looking, or?
Yeah, if we haven't found his old
Yeah.
or any signs of them.
We're just
We
gonna
should
have
just start
to try and be
asking
quiet.
people where our friend is. That's not weird, you know? To just do it.
I think here you don't want to, if you ask questions, it could be giving clues to some type of enemy that we're unbeknownst of.
But we're
That's
looking
just-
for Azul. We're not looking for the Tsarina, technically.
I know, but like we're in technically not friendly territory, technically speaking. So we're like kind of, like it's behind enemy lines, and we're looking for one of our others. So it's kind of let everybody else know that we're like, we're so and so. We don't know where they're at.
Well,
I
Ardell,
mean-
find
we don't have much choice.
Yeah, I don't know
being
what else
like-
to do.
find an elven servant and talk elven to them, and then it'll be fine because you're both elves in like an oppressed state.
It don't work like that, but I could definitely try.
Yeah. I'll say, I mean, even if y'all go back and forth and you end up, you do talk to the occasional servant or someone, you know that, like, the Tsarina disappeared after dinner. The Tsar went somewhere else, too. Ravane hasn't been spotted in quite a while, so obviously something is going on there. They're not in any of the usual meeting places, and you describe as old, and people don't seem to know where she is. And you keep this up again, like the hunt is going on, and then you all begin to hear bells in the distance.
What kind of bells?
The bells
I mean,
that
like-
signal midnight.
Okay.
As a clock tower is going off over the city of Phelan. And something sort of odd starts to happen. You're making your way down this hallway, and you notice that the frames on the wall start to shake just a little bit, and that like kind of catches your attention. You see that other objects in this hallway you're in just start to rattle, and all of a sudden you become very much aware that the ground beneath you is beginning to shake as the trembles of an earthquake are beginning here and beginning to rack the entire palace. And then you begin to hear cracking sounds coming from the roof, like far above where you are, as if something off in the sky, maybe like fireworks or something is happening here. And then I need Kara and Farah to make me wisdom saving throws.
Oof. 12.
Oh, I think you're muted, Sage.
Oh, what? No.
Oh, sorry. Now I can hear
Sorry.
you.
Natural 1.
Nice. Okay. So as like this earthquake now that's shaking the palace is beginning to grow more intense, and it's not like one of those short quakes that's over. This one just kind of keeps on going, and these cracks are coming from louder and louder outside. You're not sure what's happening since you're like in this hallway here. But both Kara and Farah, you get this just splitting, sudden like headache that kind of comes over you, and like the pain like shoots from your head and kind of like expands through your whole body as you're racked with like this ache and this just strange, almost like electric feeling just moving through you, like someone's like just sucker punched you in the stomach, and you can't help but like fall onto the ground as this is happening, and you just get the sense that something is being like torn away from you. It's unlike anything you've ever felt, and all around you like frames start to fall off of the walls as whatever is happening outside is just getting worse and worse. You begin to hear screaming coming from different places, like echoing through the palace. And Farah and Kara, again, that feeling something is gone. Now you reach out for something, and it's like a key part of you has just been cut off or cut away. As you feel your magic is beginning to leave both of you.
Rude!
Something is happening out there in the world, and people all over the place are screaming, and the final clock strikes, and silence happens as the palace stops shaking. Everything stops from above, but both Farah and Kara are like out on the ground. And Saya and Arnadel, you are looking down at them like, what the fuck just happened?
I mean, I would definitely have put my fucking detect magic on during that episode. Did I see anything?
Sure, yeah, you're looking around and there is just nothing like registering, and you look down at Kara and Farah and there's no magic coming from them. That core of like holy magic that usually is centered in them is just gone.
They're laid out.
Yeah, I think both of them.
I'm going to grab Saya and I'm going to look at her, and I'm not going to be able to speak, and I'm going to look down at the two of them and try to pick them up, and I'm going to be panicking.
Why do you have magic?
Yeah, I think Kara and
It
Farah,
ain't divine.
you all can like, you're not like unconscious, but you just feel like, I don't know, how does it feel to be like separated all of a sudden from your magic? Farah, how does that feel for you? It's been with you your whole life. You've never not been divinely touched. So what is this like?
Yeah, I think that she feels like really numb, and like she's normally got just like this posturing and like confidence about her, and she just like almost like looks like someone else is like in her body, because none of her mannerisms are the same as she's like starting to get up. She's just like very like curled in on herself, and looks like really unsure, and she just like even physically kind of like looks like she's been through some shit. She's just got bags under her eyes and is like kind of slightly delirious.
Yeah, and Kara, this is very new for you, but what is it like now, being without magic?
So when that feeling of that power and that comfort draining her body, and immediately, just like a snap, she reverts to the memory of watching her parents get slaughtered by drow, and is just falls back, just limp on the ground, like eyes roll back in the back of her head, as she is just clearly trapped in this dark memory and is just gasping for breath.
Yeah.
And she cries out, "No, Dad!"
Yeah. Saya and Narnadel, what are you doing?
Panicking. I'm trying to explain what's happening, because Saya's probably like, what the fuck just happened, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened. You're also freaking out. What are you? Do you know something?
Arnold's probably, of course, I'm not going to know like what caused this, or all I can register is that their magic is gone.
Yeah, and I think
Like,
you don't need a check to be like, their magic got cut off.
Yeah, I did. That's all I can repeat. I'm like, their magic. They don't have it. It's gone. It's gone. They don't. And I'm like, fire off a spell, and I'm just like, it's from their god. Their god. She can't like even form sentences. She's like freaking out because this is a big fucking. She can't comprehend it, but she can understand that it's a big fucking deal.
I'm just gonna. Arnadel says that their magic's gone, I think that Farah just starts crying.
Yeah.
Gotta like get our shit together and be like, what? Yeah, you start crying. I'm like, okay, wait, we gotta like. She steals herself. She's like, we gotta be rational.
Do you want to stay here with them? I'll go figure out the hell is going on outside.
I don't think we should separate. We need to go together. Like this, we can't separate. They can't.
Are you guys okay? Can you get up? Kara, wake up.
Kind of like she shakes her head and slowly inches up to a sitting position of, I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah. We gotta move as a unit.
But you guys feel okay. We can get out of here.
Sure.
Yeah, I can walk. It's fine.
Where are you going?
Okay.
Back to our room.
What?
Right?
I want to check outside together.
Yeah, let's go figure out if this had a source.
Okay.
See if we run into anybody on the way too who's like looking crazy like us, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, well, in the magic tower?
Yeah, I mean, you can begin to, like, you kind of pick yourselves up shakily and start to head out, like, just towards the nearest exit, like, of this building. And you can, walk into, like, the central courtyard is going to be the closest spot. And as you move through the halls, you see that there are other groups of people who have just, like, similarly to both Kara and Farah, are just kind of, like, staring or crying or, like, laying down as they've suddenly had their magic taken from them. So everyone who was divinely touched in this place just seems just in shock as this is happening. Their friends around them are trying to, like, support them or engage with them. And you continue your way outside, seeing these people all over the place. And as you get out and you look at the night sky, it's eerie what's happening up above. You see the stars, but a lot of them are moving through the sky. You see there are stars that are falling all around, like off in distant places. One by one, they're dropping from the sky. Like these comets are just moving across. And there's
I want to do like an Arcana check on that shit.
Yeah.
Religion? That wouldn't tell me anything.
Sure, you could go ahead and.
Oh God.
Sure. What's your Arcana, Brittany?
It's natural 20.
Okay.
I'm so excited. I'm like, I need to know.
What
obscure book have I read in the depths of...
I'm gonna tell you, like, this isn't something like you can easily quantify in magic. You don't know any magic in the world that could make stars fall from the sky or the earth shake or just take away magic from the divine. You have read books, storytells before about apocalypse stories. You have heard, like, what happens when the world ends. That sort of feels reminiscent, but you're not sure.
Arnadel's like, nope, can't compute. There is an answer for this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't believe in that shit. There is something. There's cause and effect. I need to know the cause. So she's just like short circuiting on that loop. Like, nope. That's not how this works. There's what?
Yeah. Yeah, and as you're staring, like, up at this sky, and the stars are kind of falling all around you, there's the sudden feeling, once again, Farah and Kara, that occurs, like, in your chest. It's sort of this, like, reigniting feeling as, like, your bodies once again are just this wave of something coming over you. And all of a sudden you feel like this jammed, painful force come to you as, like, light and sound and music and everything returns to your body in an instant as you feel magic gets plugged the fuck back into your body here. And you see the stars kind of start to realign themselves and everything picks up again and it's back. It's all back.
Mm-mm.
We just, like, went into another dimension.
No, I don't trust this shit. I feel like you got hijacked.
Yeah,
Your
Kara,
gods
like-
got hijacked.
Yeah.
Or a gas.
We all died, and now this is the afterlife.
And around you, you see people are very much going through the same thing. There's, like, there's people who are now picking themselves up and, like, standing around and looking up at the sky. And, like, again, they're screaming and talking. And a lot of people have done the exact same thing you are. And there are just throngs of people that are filtered in the courtyard looking up, like, at the sky, wondering what the fuck just happened. And all of you begin to feel just an intense burning on your palms as you see the Sisters of Sorrow symbol flare up. And you know you've got a message incoming.
Oh,
And that's where we're going to cut the session for today.
oh my God, I'm so stressed out. I can't.
Me
handle
too.
it.
I was so scared. I was like, I guess I'm stabbing people now.
I guess Take a
Thank
level
God
and
for
fight
the
her.
6 levels of barbarian.
I knew it wouldn't be so bad for Kara. You know, she's fine. She multi-class. Well,
I'm committed to this only.
thank you everyone so much for listening to this episode of Adventure Maidens. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. I have been your dungeon master, Celeste Konowich.
Been your moon elf warlock, Marna Delethil, played by Brittany.
I'm Katie. I have a very fast heart right now. And I played Farah. You're almost nearly useless tiefling.
Aww.
Yeah, what a roller coaster of an episode. I'm Nassim, your human monk, Sayonor.
I'm Sage, and I have been your bamboozled barbarian, Cara Brynhilda.
Yes, thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Wow, yeah. If you like our stuff, please go out and support us by giving us follows. You can start here on Twitch. You can subscribe, which is awesome. You can follow us on social media, which includes Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all over the place. Check out our stuff if you want to see all the other streams we do. On Friday, we're going to be back with the second ever episode of the Dragon Age RPG run by Sage. Featuring a fantastic crew of folks, so please join us Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific for that. In the meantime, though, yeah, if you like the podcast, leave ratings and reviews. Good shit. Check out our Patreon. We love you all, and you're great. And you won't know what you should do. Till next time. Venture away! Venture away.
Venture away.
Venture away, everybody. Good night.